Has Real Madrid found Modric's replacement at Liverpool? Premier League giants are going all out in a transfer war for Donnarumma. Who's going to come out on top? Xabi Alonso has reportedly given the green light to sell Rodrygo, but where's the Brazilian heading next? And could a PSG star be making a shock move to Fenerbahçe? What's really behind this stunning transfer? All that and loads more in today's episode. But before we get into it, as always, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Ready? Let's jump into the latest transfer rumors. Rodrygo is still technically a Real Madrid player, but if you've been reading the Spanish press, especially the ever-dramatic El Chiringuito, you'd think he's already halfway out the door. The Brazilian seems to be packing his bags, and Premier League giants, not Villa, no, proper sharks like Chelsea and Arsenal are already circling for his signature. And as you'd expect, the first calls have already gone in, agents being sounded out, quiet chatters of, would your client be open to swapping Madrid's son for rainy old London? And the response, oh, it adds spice. Rodrygo's not just open to the idea, he actually sees the Prem as a proper challenge. Something exciting, but don't get too comfortable. It's not going to be an easy ride. Chelsea and Arsenal are ready to scrap over the 24-year-old like they once did for Tchouaméni. That one ended with a Real Madrid win. But now, the ball's in Madrid's court. And believe it or not, he'll set you back 80 million euros. A little less than Enzo Fernandez, sure, but still bold money. Meanwhile, over in Germany, Bayern are making moves too. Musiala's out. Nico Williams didn't show up. Cheers, Athletic. So the Germans are all in, a formal offer on the table for Rodrygo. But the lad, it seems, has his heart set on England. And here's the dramatic twist. Rodrygo's future may not depend on which club wants him most, but where he actually wants to go. Stay or move. And if he leaves, which door does he walk through? Bit of backstory here. His relationship with the club has been rocky since the spring. Xabi Alonso's arrival was meant to be a reset, a fresh start, but things haven't exactly clicked. Yes, Rodrygo started the Club World Cup opener, but then bench, more bench. Not even in the semi-final squad. Alonso's explanation? Technical reasons. Yeah, right. We all know what technical reasons really mean in football speak. And speaking of technicalities, I had a look at the stats behind this channel, and over 80% of you are watching without hitting that subscribe button. Come on, let's drop the technical excuses. Your sub isn't just nice, it's crucial for this channel to grow. Smash it. I'm not Alonso. I won't bench you, I promise. So back to it. What's Alonso actually saying here? Pretty much, I don't see him as a key player. Let him decide what he wants. Now, Arteta? Very different story. The Arsenal boss is a big fan. They've been tracking Rodrygo since May. What Mikel wants is a winger who can score, carry the ball at pace, drift between the lines, and be fluid across that front three. Flaws and all, Rodrygo fits that brief better than, say, Martinelli does right now. But 80 million? That's a decision way above the manager's head. Over at Chelsea, you know how it is. Transfers in, loans out, absolute chaos as usual. But this window, slightly more measured, and the plan to get a top winger is still on. Rodrygo's one of their prime targets, and by now, even Chelsea's hierarchy know if you're dropping 80 million, you're not buying a promising talent for tomorrow. You want output now. Now, let's throw one more twist into the mix. Liverpool. If Luis Diaz ends up leaving, guess who's getting the first call? Yep, Rodrygo. And, fun fact, he was actually close to joining Liverpool as a kid. There's long-standing interest. Fabrizio Romano's already confirmed it. Real Madrid are lining up a face-to-face with the player. That chat will be decisive. Will Rodrygo stay for another season at the Bernabeu? Or is he off to Arteta's Arsenal and those grey North London skies? Things are heating up, big time. Especially with Xabi Alonso clearly not seeing Rodrygo as a key piece in his puzzle. And the man himself, more and more, is starting to wonder, do Real really want me here? It's moving fast, folks, so stay tuned. And if he does head to the Premier League, that'll be one of the biggest moves of the summer, especially if it's Arsenal who pull it off. So, it appears Christopher NKUNKU is preparing for his grand escape from Stamford Bridge. The Frenchman never quite managed to convince Enzo Maresca he was worth a starting spot, though he did grace the Conference League with a few decent performances. But let's face it, the Conference League wasn't exactly the dream sold to him when he left RB Leipzig for a cool £52 million. Chelsea, in their infinite wisdom, are asking for a minimum of £50 million. A truly bold strategy for a player who's become best friends with the substitutes bench during crucial league games. Over in Germany, Bayern are circling, orchestrating talks through the one and only Pini Zahavi. They had a sniff back in January, but were scared off by a ludicrous £60 million price tag. Now the asking price is only £50 million, which still sounds suspiciously like trying to put a plaster over a £52 million wound. Bayern's need for a winger is pretty blatant, and NKUNKU is the perfect candidate. Proven in the Bundesliga and surely motivated to return somewhere he's actually appreciated. Manchester United are also lurking, armed with their secret weapon, Christopher Vivell. The man in charge of their recruitment has worked with NKUNKU at both Leipzig and Chelsea, which is convenient. Ruben Amorim has been looking at him for a while, but you do have to wonder why. United's attack is already a chaotic mess, and a £50 million winger doesn't seem like the priority. But knowing United, if they sell a few attackers, they might just panic buy him anyway. Can't fault NKUNKU's quality when he's fit and firing, mind you. And then there's Fulham. Yes, Fulham. Their bid to sign him against the giants of Bayern and United feels a bit like entering a go-kart in the Monaco Grand Prix. Technically, you're a participant. Their main selling point? You won't have to call a moving van. Not exactly a clincher, but the truly hilarious part of this story is that Chelsea have done this entirely to themselves. They bought one of the hottest properties in Europe, fundamentally failed to use him, and now want a full refund. It's another masterclass from the Bowley School of Management. Buy shiny things, forget what they do, then try to sell them back to the shop. A move to Bayern would be a lifeline for NKUNKU's career. He knows the league, he knows how to score there. And Chelsea, they'll continue their fascinating experiment of collecting players and seeing if they can assemble a coherent team by accident. Good luck with that. Looks like Chelsea have finally realized that their goalkeeping situation isn't exactly a laugh. After a season of watching Robert Sanchez turn fans grey 2 years ahead of schedule, the club is back on the hunt for a proper number one. Not just someone who'll make a decent stop against Brentford on a Tuesday night. We're talking about a keeper who can actually save your season. So, who've Chelsea got their eye on? Of course, one of the biggest names in the market right now, Gianluigi Donnarumma. According to L'Equipe, the boys at Stamford Bridge have officially joined the race for the PSG shot stopper, and we're not talking passive, oh yeah, we're monitoring nonsense. They're properly looking into it. His current contract runs out in the summer of 2026, which means that, realistically, PSG either extend him soon or risk losing him for free in just a year's time. And PSG, they've been here before. They definitely don't want another star walking out the door on a free. Now, as for Donnarumma himself, reports in France say he's not against a new challenge. And with Paris once again whispering about wage structure and cost cutting, the logic kind of lines up. The man's on €850,000 a month, that's before bonuses. Even for a club that just won the Champions League, that's a serious wage package. They're already eyeing potential backups. Lucas Chevalier at Lille is one name being discussed, and it feels like PSG are slowly preparing for life after Donnarumma. Now, the obvious question, would Donnarumma be up for a move to Chelsea? We've got no clear answer yet. But based on how things ended with Milan, we do know one thing. If a club hesitates to offer him a new deal, Gigio doesn't tend to hang about. Give it another 6 months, and he's legally allowed to sign a pre-contract elsewhere. The real spice, though? The competition. Manchester United are sniffing around. City aren't far behind. If United seriously start considering an Onana replacement, which, let's be fair, might cross their minds with those injuries popping up, Donnarumma could be the natural evolution from De Gea. Only difference? He's more hyped, he's got a European Championship medal, and he's already got a decade of top-flight football under his belt. City, on the other hand, they're always the wild card. Yes, they've got Ederson, but Pep's the kind of manager who will absolutely go out and sign a second elite keeper just to keep everyone sharp. If Donnarumma becomes available, wouldn't be shocking if City quietly jumped in. And Chelsea? Well, right now, they're dreaming a little. Yes, they tried going for Mike Maignan. That didn't go anywhere. Milan played hardball on the fee, and the player himself wasn't 100% convinced. But now, there's a more serious option. Donnarumma brings a name: calmness under pressure and positional authority. Exactly what you want at the back when you're rebuilding a team from the ground up and don't fancy watching Robert Sanchez sliding into midfield in the 35th minute again. But, and there's always a but, while Chelsea might want the move, Donnarumma hasn't actually said yes yet. And until PSG's contract talks with his agents completely break down, it's all still up in the air. So yeah, stay tuned. Chelsea have a real shot at a headline transfer here. Let's just hope it doesn't end up like another Kepa situation. You remember how much that one cost. Marco Asensio looks set to leave Paris. Well, almost. The deal's not done just yet, but all signs are pointing in one direction. Another former Real Madrid star is about to swap the Parisian lights for, wait for it, away days in Kayseri, wearing the famous yellow and navy of Fenerbahçe. And not just anyone's Fenerbahçe, Mourinho's Fenerbahçe. So, how on earth did we get here? How does a 29-year-old Spaniard, once hailed as the future of Madrid, go from lifting the Trophée des Champions to playing under the special one in the Turkish Super League? Let's rewind. Asensio signed for PSG in the summer of 2023 as a free agent, and at the time, it looked like a clever bit of business. Experience, squad depth, cultured left foot, versatility across the front, the full works. But, as it so often goes in Paris, he just kind of drifted. Was there, but wasn't really there. Second half of last season, PSG shipped him off on loan to Aston Villa, and credit where it's due, he didn't look bad there at all. 3 goals in 13 games. Respectable, but that's not really the issue. Asensio wants to play. Week in, week out. He wants to be back in the Spain squad for the 2026 World Cup, and with the likes of Vitinha, Dembélé and Kvaratskhelia all ahead of him in Paris, let's be real, it wasn't going to happen. Enter Fenerbahçe. And this isn't your average Turkish club story. This is Jose Mourinho's big new challenge. You can already see the spark lighting up for Asensio. There's the pull of Europe, the ambition, the project, the fresh start, and of course the salary. He's already been booked in for a medical in Istanbul. The clubs have agreed on the main points, the player's happy with the move. Now it's just paperwork time. Although, as always with these things, it's not all plain sailing. Reports out of Turkey say Asensio wasn't too thrilled with Fener's first salary offer, 9 million euros. Apparently, he's eyeing something a bit closer to Saudi League money. And you can just picture Mourinho responding by pointing to the tactics board and going, "Here, Marco, this is where you'll play. You'll get the ball all the time. Happiness isn't in your bank account, mate." Talks are ongoing and both sides are optimistic. PSG have no shortage of cash. They're happy to offload someone who didn't quite fit. And Fener, they're getting a big name, someone who brings headlines but, if handled right, can still bring serious quality to the pitch. So we're basically waiting for that official "here we go." And Asensio, a player many thought had already peaked, just might have one last statement left in him. Let's just hope he slams the door on his own terms, and not the other way around. Alexis Mac Allister, the latest transfer priority for Real Madrid. Shocking, right? Not really. I mean, ever since Toni Kroos and Luka Modrić said their goodbyes, Madrid have basically been scrambling to figure out who's going to hold the midfield baton. The latest name on their radar, an Argentine lad from Liverpool. Sounds good on paper. Skillful, intelligent, World Cup winner, and already proven in the Premier League. And most importantly, he's not Jude Bellingham. Jude's been running the show, sure, but let's be honest, there's no way he can carry the midfield for an entire season all by himself. But here's the catch, the price tag. We're talking 100 million euros. Yes, 100. Real don't exactly want to pay that much, but they're lurking. It's like walking into an Apple store, eyeing up an iPhone priced at $1,000 and going, "If it goes on sale, give me a ring." That's basically Madrid right now, keeping tabs, waiting for that promo. But let's not kid ourselves. This isn't Brighton anymore. This is Liverpool. No discounts here, especially not on players who've just smashed it in their debut season and bagged a Premier League title. Mac Allister really did have a top year after his £40 million move from Brighton, which, by today's standards, is basically a bargain bin buy. He's become one of the key faces of Klopp's rebuild, now taken over by Arne Slot. So yeah, fair enough that Madrid's radar starts buzzing. Rumour has it, Xabi Alonso himself is vouching for Alexis. And let's be real, Xabi doesn't back flops. But here's the twist, a move to the Bernabeu, only happening if someone drops Salah money. Otherwise, no chance. 100 million euros? Not likely, considering Madrid have already splashed the cash this summer. Dropping another 100 mil on a box-to-box midfielder? Bit of a stretch, especially when you've already got Camavinga, Valverde, Tchouaméni, and of course Bellingham, who could probably do a job in goal if you asked him to. From Liverpool's end, they've got no plans to sell. They're rebuilding, and McAllister's basically the cement holding that midfield together. Take him out, and the whole thing starts falling apart. But here's the thing. As unlikely as the deal seems, there's just one little but. His name keeps popping up. Again and again, like weirdly often. And yeah, the sources aren't exactly BBC level, we're talking fichajes type stuff here, which, you know, take with a massive pinch of Muldawn sea salt. If it was once, fine. But this is the 5th or 6th time we're hearing Real and McAllister in the same sentence. And speaking of repetition, some of you lot have popped onto the channel 5 or 6 times now too, and still haven't subscribed. What is this? Are you scouting me like Madrid scouts McAllister? Come on, enough research. Smash that subscribe button, don't miss the moment Florentino Perez picks up the phone to Alexis. Or, you know, when I drop the next video. Anyway, bottom line, Liverpool fans shouldn't relax just yet. The good news? Right now, McAllister has no desire to leave. He sees himself as a key part of Arne Slot's project. The real question is, how long will he keep seeing himself that way, if Perez himself gives him a ring? So, is this about to turn into a full-throttle Real Madrid chase? Or is it just classic La Liga noise in the middle of a dead July? We'll find out soon enough. But for now, Mac's staying put. And unless someone slaps more than 120 million euros on the table, that's not changing.